Okay, now we're going to make chocolate coconut macaroons. These are different than macaron, which is maybe what you've heard before. Macaron is a pretty pastel colored sandwich cookie made with almonds. And then a macaroon is a cookie made with egg whites and coconut. Okay, so they're a little bit different. So what we're going to need to do is first things first, we need to melt our chocolate. Again, I melted such a small amount, I just did it in the microwave. But if you had a larger amount to do, I would do it over a bain-marie. Then we're going to get our KitchenAid going. So we're going to take our whip, make sure that the wire is into the little groove, pop it into the machine. The first thing we want to do is whip our egg whites and sugar until it's nice and light and foamy. So I'm going to let this get started, and then I'm going to slowly stream in my sugar. Now, I'm not really trying to make a meringue here. I'm just trying to get it light and fluffy, and so that there's no liquid egg stuck in the bottom of the bowl. So you'll notice I started slow, and I started picking up the speed as it whips. So you can see some bubbles starting to form. And I just want it to be a few more bubbles than that, and I'm going to start adding my sugar. So I've actually put the sugar and the salt together. It's fine. And now you can see it's light and fluffy inside. So I'm just going to lightly sprinkle in my sugar. It's helpful if your egg whites are at room temperature for this. So I've got my sugar added. Now all I want to do is really bring this to a nice soft peak. It doesn't need to be meringue texture. So I'm going to turn it up just once more, let it get a little more whipped. And that's it. So I just want to make sure there's no liquid egg on the bottom and that my whites are nice and frothy, which I've got here. So I'm going to take the whip out and I'm going to stir in my chocolate. So this is why if your eggs are at room temperature, it's better. If they're cold from the fridge, you could seize your chocolate. So you just want to make sure everything's at room temperature. So I'm just going to stir in my chocolate. You don't want to leave any behind. So give that just a gentle stir. It doesn't need to be folded necessarily, but you don't want to beat it. So we're just going to make sort of like a gentle egg white mousse. And then I'm going to sift my cocoa powder, just because cocoa powder tends to have some chunks in it. So I'm just going to sift that directly over the egg whites. You can see there's a few little balls left, so I'm just going to push those through. Okay. I'm just going to give that a quick little fold. Again, you don't have to be too careful here. You are going to deflate it, and it's no problem when you do. Okay, and you need just a little splash of vanilla. So I'm going to pour that in. Just get another gentle little toss. And then lastly, you're going to add in the coconut. So once that's mostly come together, I'm going to throw in all my coconut, and it's a lot of coconut. Okay, so throw that in. And then we're just really going to stir this together. So this is a nice little gluten-free snack. But again, because of the kitchen we're in, we're going to call it gluten-friendly. Once that mixture comes all together, we're just going to spoon it out onto a tray. So I have a scoop here, but if you didn't have a scoop, you want to make sure that you're getting them nice and even. And 15 grams is the perfect size. So I would put them on a scale, and then I would use a spoon just to make sure that I'm getting it nice and even at 15 grams. Okay? So turn your scale on. Again, I'm going to use a scoop. And you want it to be nice and packed tight so that they all come out about the same. But not that close together. Okay, give them just a little bit of room. They don't spread a lot, but they do spread a teeny tiny bit. You want them to bake evenly. Okay, once you've scooped everything out, you get rid of my scale. You just want to go back and make sure that they're nice and round and that they don't have any shaggy bits. So any ones that have shaggy bits, I'm just going to quickly pick them up, touch them in a little bit, make them round again. These aren't expected to look like perfect little balls, so I don't want you to get carried away rolling it in between your fingers. But if you have bits that are super shaggy or kicking off the outside edge, they might burn. So you want to make sure that they're reasonably round, that you have room for everybody on your tray. Okay, then we're going to pop this in the oven and we're going to bake it not very long, probably about 5 or 6 minutes, just until the outside is dry and they go from sort of a shiny color to a matte color. Okay, you can see that our macaroons have come out of the oven and that they're nice and dull, but you can see that they're still soft. Like, they're still a good squishy texture. You don't want them to be rock hard, but you do want them to be baked. So they should be able to slide gently around the tray without gluing. You should be able to pick them up without them leaving a huge trace, but they shouldn't be wet or slimy on the bottom. So you can see that these are sort of a dull matte color. That's how you know that they're good to go. Okay?